Space Magic is a series of movies directed by Brian Greene. There have been 10 movies released in this series so far, and all of them are very popular among people of all ages. The story is about a magic coin which has the power to call a spaceship for time travel. Mark is a young boy who lives on a planet far from the Earth. He has no parents. He gets the magic coin from a strange old man. Though the old man told him not to use it in front of people, Mark always carries the coin with him so that he can use any time. One day, Mark meets Jonathan. He has no parents either. At first, they don't know that they are brothers, but they learn that after a while. Their parents left them behind when they were babies. Their dream is to meet their parents again, but maybe it is difficult for this dream to come true. Mark and Jonathan make a lot of efforts to find their parents by using the magic coin, but they are still missing even in the 10th movie of the series. I first saw Space Magic when I was 11. It was the first movie of the series, and I can never forget one scene of it even now. In the scene, Mark was telling Jonathan about how he got the magic coin. I was shocked when Mark took the coin from his pocket and showed it to Jonathan because the coin looked as if it had magical power. I also felt it was actually somewhere in this world. At that time, more than 30 years ago, most fantasy movies looked so fake to me that I could not focus on their stories. Even when various large props were well made, I couldn't help feeling that all of them existed only in the movie world. Brian and I have worked together for more than 20 years. We met for the first time while we were making the TV drama series Spaceman. One day, Brian asked me to help him with his popular movie series Space Magic. Originally, I helped him as a scriptwriter and producer. A few years ago, however, he told me to take over from him as the director of the Space Magic series. He was 70 at that time. He continued to make a new movie once every few years from 1973, but was losing his strength due to his age. He said he would retire from the front line soon. I was sure that I would miss him so much. So I started making the latest movies of the Space Magic series. As you can imagine, directing a Space Magic movie is exciting for a great fan of the series, but really difficult at the same time. This series has already won a lot of fans, so I was afraid that they wouldn't like my movie. I asked myself over and over again, what should I do? After thinking for several weeks, I got one idea. I will create the same world as the one I saw at the age of 11. I can't become Brian in any way, but I clearly remember his world. Everything looked real to me. In this way, I decided to go back to the techniques Brian used around 1973 for the first movie of the Space Magic series. According to Brian's advice, we should avoid computer graphics, CG, if there are other possible ways to shoot a scene. Actually, he built large movie sets and visited many places for shooting instead of using computer graphics. Brian said, "Without computer graphics, we don't have to try to make people believe something is happening in the movie because it was actually happening." I knew that more and more movie directors were using computer graphics to save time and effort. Brian continued, "As you know, if you need thousands of horses in a battle scene, you only have to press some keys. You can get many more horses at the same price if you want. Computer graphics help us a lot, but please try to use them as little as possible." When Brian started shooting Space Magic, almost no computer graphics techniques were available, so he had to make a lot of robots and aliens as puppets, but this gave the robots and aliens a sense of reality that is lost in CG characters. Of course, these days, we can't make a movie like Space Magic without computer graphics. However, Brian said, "Though I've seen a lot of movies, I can't believe most of them are real. It's really difficult to explain why we feel so, because nothing that you are seeing is wrong at all in your eyes." On the other hand, Brian doesn't always avoid using computer graphics. He uses it to erase what is unnecessary in each scene, such as wires and puppeteers. Brian explained another reason for avoiding computer graphics. With computer graphics, for example, when an actor gives a performance, he has to imagine a character that isn't actually there. I think it's impossible for him to do well in such a situation, so I always asked character designers to make puppets that look like real ones. Do you remember an alien called Utan similar to an orangutan? One of the designers, Kevin, made Utan out of various materials such as natural rubber, carbon fiber, silicon, and urethanes. Utan's skin was made by hand knitting, and then each hair made from mohair is tied to the skin. I was so happy with Utan when it let its hair in the wind. Also, Utan was so real that it could get a wonderful performance out of everyone. Brian admitted to himself that he was particular about real things. He said, "Real things get dirty, and that is important." The space magic movies is characterized in that they weren't clean at all. Spaceships look new and clean in most movies, but everything in space magic looks used and old because things which have a long history should be damaged. So I asked spaceship designers to get sand from the Mojave Desert. Sand makes everything look rich in history. One of the spaceship designers, David, then interrupted us. We had to carry a lot of sand from the desert over several days. After that, we put all the grains of sand on the spaceships using paintbrushes. Our clothes also got dirty and damaged because of that work. The latest movies in the Space Magic series is the 11th produced since 1973. I hear it will be shown worldwide next week. And that is the one I directed for the first time. I was really into space magic for several months during shooting. I would say I did all I could do to make everything look real in the movie. I just wanted to feel what I had felt when I watched this movie as a boy. I hope as many people as possible will enjoy the same experience as me all around the world.